you so much for joining me from wherever you are joining us this noon. It is brunch time with Mayegun again. Read beyond the caption of the broadcast. First, the caption, okay? Then the description. Like it, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell all of them that Mayegun today. Tifnumbu said DSS last night took over the Labour House in Abuja in their search for what they call the materials from the NLC in preparation of joining the national protests. Remember, they said they arrested 6 Spaniards. I actually thought they said 5. Now they said it's actually 6. They arrested 6 Spaniards sponsoring protests in Nigeria. They have also said they've arrested 7 Polish printing Russian flags in Kano. Poland, Polish people, and Russia. Lamba of the what do you call it? Lamba of the century. They haven't displayed any of these guys. They said they have arrested sponsoring the hunger protest in Nigeria. Share this. Invite your friends, not so friendly friends. Tell all of them. So, but today, good afternoon to you again. Good morning to you and good evening to you from wherever you are joining us this moment. It is brunch time with Mayegun and also a little bit of a snippet into the 8th day of Days of Rage with the hashtag End Bad Governance in Nigeria, hashtag Egg Them. So they have been battling this. I'm talking about Tifnumbu and gang. They have been battling with this for over a month, but this last 1 week has been a tell-it-all. Now, I am not bringing you much of the updates from the protester ground this morning, but I've got a few. I'll show you, okay? From Lagos, from, but there is some level of retrospection that I want us to do at this moment, okay? However, last night, like I said, Tifnumbu said DSS. After, I'm going to read something to you, right? After the NLC condemned the attacks on protesters and calling out for accountability on the part of the government to show to the world, including the protesters, that they are indeed, they can be trusted. Yeah. Now, after issuing this yesterday, yesterday morning, the supposed State Secret Service, Dr. Most Stupid Service, they visited the NLC. So I'll just give you the highlights of why. So NLC had a meeting to review this 1 week of hunger protest, economic hardship protest in Nigeria, which has really, really gripped Nigeria, but not as it should have. You know what I mean? However, NLC felt like, one, they said, call for a day of mourning for those killed, okay? Demand for policy reversal, which means what the protesters are demanding for is just reverse all these policies. Nobody says they want to remove you or anything. Reverse these policies. They are killing people, impoverishing them. They are hungry. And this is not even a joke. Like, this is not even like, you don't even need anybody to come and sponsor you to say you are hungry if you are hungry. Yeah, those who are not are possibly staying out. In fact, most of those who even join too, these are people who can still manage to survive in that contraption. But in northern Nigeria, these protesters now further exposed the kind of leadership that in northern Nigeria has been given to Nigeria, a backward one. Now that we have this excessive, what they now call dangerous alimajiri system in northern Nigeria, that alimajiri system was never a threat to the political class until now. Now, these protesters exposed that, right? Get to that. So NLC was like a call for accountability. It said, at their neck meeting. So they called that everybody should take account. I mean, should give account of what they have done. The military, the police, killing the people. Dialogue and engagement. Right. If you want to say you want to dialogue with people, what kind of dialogue are you talking about? Is it that you have a plan to say, I've seen your demands. This, we can deal with them right now. This, and that, we can't do them right away. Can you give up? Like you are not responding in that regard. So NLC want them to kind of, if you say you want to engage with people, you don't send the soldiers and military and thugs to go and kill them. That is not dialogue and engagement. You get that now? You can't say, go away first, and then we can talk. If you don't go away, I will kill you. I will continue to kill you. And then you also dangling dialogue. Dialogue with what? With who? So they're like, they said, immediate relief measures. Now, immediate relief measure means that stop giving people rights and all of that. Okay? Relief measure that's actually going to touch everyone. Policy reversal. So they said stop politically motivated meddling. Yes. Sponsoring politically motivated hateful speeches against the legitimate demand or the legitimate demands of the protesting Nigerians. Stop. That's what they said, right? That's what put them in trouble. So it said, it's strengthening solidarity. Now, all of them have to come together. This is within them now, like they have to come together now, okay, and show solidarity. Something that pointed to, like, maybe NLC also will likely join them. I've been hearing that for the past 3 days, right? And people have been saying, don't join us, so don't join us, so don't, you know what I mean? Like, now, they now said call for action. They said, continue to keep themselves safe in the midst of the protest, advising the people to, continue to keep themselves safe, do all you can to avoid any sort of violence and all that, whatever. So then they continued. Here, oh, hang on. I've mixed that up. 1 sec. Right, that's the second page, by the way. Right? So they said there, mass protest and government response. They discussed that. Trivialization of treasonable felony, accusing the protesters of committing, treasonable felony. That because they are holding a flag or flying a flag or a particular whatever, that is not treasonable. It is to aggravate. This is further aggravating the whole issue because people are not listening to you. They're still flying the flags, right? And you cannot continue to sort of say they are committing treasonable. Treasonable felony is the punishment for treason is death. So how can you kill somebody because they are holding a flag that you have everywhere all over the place, right? Or using the word treason against a legitimate protest. So NLC was like, against that. So human rights violations, they were against that. Government's meddlesomeness, which is using a government ministers, appointees to go on TV, to go and, incite people against the protesters. This is, right? So they also kind of, in their demand now, right here, they said, session therefore reached the following resolutions, okay? So they said the demand for policy reversal, which I've actually mentioned that, sorry. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Policy reversal, calls for accountability, calls for a day of mourning, and the protesters themselves have sort of declared a 3-day mourning period for the people killed. So talking about those they are sending on TV, politicians hitting up the polity, trying to blackmail the protesters, undermine their legitimate demands, accuse them of what they have not done, criminalize protest in a democracy, and unleash violence on protesters. Then in all of this, blame them for everything that goes bad. The same protesters. So all of these are just like violation of what they call the human right. You don't have that in Nigeria. But these are the time to also, yeah. But this man said something, which I said earlier. As much as you have seen looting in northern Nigeria, there's something that happened in Kano, right? And it's so significant in this whole, among many things that happened, right? It is so significant. They said, you see these Kano rioters, those ones they sent to hijack their protest, right? They looted a store. They looted the warehouse. Then they looted the library. Man, they took everything in the library. Everything. But the book. Like they stole the furniture, they stole the lightings, they stole the switch, the wiring, everything inside the library. But not a single book. And that man was like, that tells you all you need to know. If you have been followed in the last 25 years, to be precise, you have had all criminals parading themselves as leaders of northern Nigeria, including former presidents. And it's shocking.
Understand what is societal values, they don't understand what is societal norms, and they are roaming the streets. And we could see them, 5 to 10, coming out to protest. And imagine when they broke into Kano, the National Library in Kano, they took away everything except books. Not one book was taken by anybody. That tells you that, look, these guys, you know, their direction is totally different from whatever you are thinking of. So we have neglected education in northern Nigeria. We have allowed a large army of uneducated young people out of school, roaming the streets. They have been the reservoir from where insurgents have been recruiting their army. They have been the reservoir from where bandits and kidnappers have been recruiting their army. I even saw a placard in Hausa saying, that they want Igbo Indian hemp prices to crash. You know, these are the kind of people that we are breeding in northern Nigeria. Understand what is?
That's the kind of people they are breeding in northern Nigeria. It's the closest to truth that you can get from a northerner. A failed region, courtesy of those born to rule, criminals from northern Nigeria, brandishing religion and all of that, catching them young. They're always there. And whenever they need them for political upheaval, political violence, they're always there. And they love it that way. They talk about it all the time. Goodluck Egbere Jonathan was building schools for them. Remember? He was building schools for them. 1,500 Almajiri schools scattered all over 11 states in northern Nigeria. Within a space of 5 years, Boko Haram came. They shut down all those schools. All of them. The children back on the streets. Did Boko Haram invest a penny in education in northern Nigeria as federal? Listen, no. It is not the job of the federal government to provide primary education. But because education is not priority in northern Nigeria, education is never a priority to the criminals representing northern Nigeria for years. And until now, so Goodluck Egbere Jonathan that built them schools, it was demonized. Yeah, they sent the children after him to stone him in Bauchi yesterday. 8 children were killed in Bauchi during the protest. Yeah, in front of the Emir also palace. When things gone hurry, the Nigerian army, they opened fire on them and they killed 8, injured over 40 of them. These are the children that have not been given any real training, no skill, no training. You hear that, man? Among the protesters, children, they were carrying placards and asking for the price of Igbo to crash. Igbo is becoming expensive. Drug addiction in northern Nigeria is it's a pandemic. All these things, all these vices. So the criminals running and ruining Nigeria from northern Nigeria, they don't give a damn. It's all about power, isn't it? It's all about power. So yeah, you can be very much kind of like right if you feel like this protest is nonsense because they did not do it under Boko Haram. Come on. What do you think we mean by Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder? Have you not seen the imports of all this alimajurism to the southern part of Nigeria in the last 25 years? I put it on Mayegun's Diary Politico this morning. I said, has anyone else noticed in Lagos in particular and across Yoruba land? I am a Yoruba man, and seriously, I'm more concerned about what happened in Yoruba land. Just same way as I am concerned about other places. But you know what? I am a Yoruba man. So I could add emotion to mine because this is like something that hits home. You know, they say it hits close to home. We talk about this poverty all the time. Bad governance, poverty. But have you noticed the pandemic of begging in Yoruba land lately? Have you? Where you go to canteens, or you go to malls, just everywhere. So I raised that on Mayegun's Diary Political this morning. I said, man, have you noticed this? And yeah, some voluntary slaves from their sewage where they live, they crawled out. Okay? And to them, why do you always like to tarnish the image of Yoruba? You are tarnishing the image of Yoruba just to make your Igbo friends happy. I saw that. I didn't respond. I just kind of banned the person. I hardly respond to them anymore because I do read my comments. And the reason why I read my comments is because I know in that comment, right, there's always going to be what do you call it? An Agbadorian, an Abobaku, a Ronuku, a Ronunazi, a Yoruba Ponu. Do you get that now? There's always going to jump at it and then come for me straight up. You get what that emotional blackmail. I noticed something that was never there. And I raised the alarm and said, have you noticed too? And a lot of people said it's true, man. It is a serious issue. Like the poverty is real, Baba. Children, adults. Like they are like aggressively asking for money. You get that? Like, please now. Ejo, lo asha, ejo sa. Ejo ebi npa mi ni ejo. Ejo anything you can jewe ejo sa ejo. And it gets so bad that it is pretty much like you have to give before you leave. Or you become a little bit aggressive yourself before they will leave you. Like people are reporting that in an attempt of giving people money in Lagos, they are robbing them. Like you feel so sorry for someone, and you're like, okay, you know what? I don't have cash, so let's go to the POS. And I even want to take some money out anyway, so I'll give you something, and then bah, run. So the poverty, they will tell you they are just lazy people. That's the easy excuse. People are just lazy, Jari. They don't want to work. Instead of them to go and do alabaru. Instead of them to go and, the easy way of blaming the victims of a failed country. I have noticed that in the midst of supposed plenty, when your own criminal leaders in Yoruba land, they are living the life of opulence, and you are living the life of misery, the one that makes you feel comfortable at least, that you have rich leaders who have so much money, your money. Why children are dropping out of schools? Like, boom. And then when you say, man, have you seen the rate at which the number of out-of-school children in Yoruba land, for example, have you checked it out? Some will not even believe. They'll be like, they are just there to go and do hawking. When I was a little boy, I used to go and do hawking before I go to school. And when you were hawking as a child in that poverty, were you happy enough that you actually wish that on your children? Majority of you who hawked, like some will use that the excuse, right? In that poor contraption, right? Majority of you who claim to have hawked before you went to school, right? During your own childhood, a lot of you grew up vowing that your children fact, any member of your family would never go through that again. But when APC, Egbe started policies that are pushing our people into poverty, dropping out of schools, no skills, they are growing in a system that has nothing for them, right? They have no means of actually like navigating through this world when they are not prepared, other than also do whatever you can to make money, or nobody go ask you where you get them. You get them if you want to be armed robber, if you want to be 419, if you want to be murderer, if you want to be anything, do anything where you want to do. Nobody care. And in the process, you and I will also be their victims. I've said this many times. This is why when you look at what these guys represent, it is so foolish of anyone to begin to brandish tribal, ethnic, and other nonsense that you put up. Sorry, I think I'm having a problem with our network, right? I'm going to go fix that. Here is what Oshiomole had to say. Again, trying to undermine the legitimate demand of the people. Listen.
The point is that there is no miracle in governance, right? And nobody promised miracle. But anybody who is a keen observer of what is going on in the country will agree that some major decisions have been taken. Unfortunately, for every decision that you take, just like taking medication, most medication can be so potent and yet they could have huge side effects. Now, to avoid them, you have to make a critical choice. A patient is so critically ill, but to get him back on his feet, you may have to take measures like surgery, right? And that means you will this patient, after administering some pain relief, you will the patient into the theater, and you open him up or her up. Now, at the time of opening the patient up, his condition is going to deteriorate further. But the surgeon is certain that with time, he will not only recover, he will heal fully. Now, the thing I want to talk about is people hiding under what is, obviously not a secret, namely that there are challenges with regards to cost of living. Of course, there is no doubt, even the president acknowledges that, which is why there are various handouts, palliative, some intervention instruments, etc., etc. That is to acknowledge that the state should not just lament the unintended side effect. It should be seen to apply some pain reliefs while the recovery period is on. Now, there are people who have lost election and who, by their comments and pronouncements, are behind the protest that people want to do. I am a believer in protests. I led several protests. It's arguable if any other living Nigerian can claim to lead as many protests as I did, to a point that President Obasanjo accused me of parading myself as alternate president, running a parallel government. But in all of that, while we cite and take over under the Nigeria Constitution when I'm taken to court, as many times as I was taken to court, the fact is that what we are demanding were things that are on the table, that are negotiable under the law. Where the Constitution gives you the right to associate, it does not give you the right to organize a protest for a regime change. If you play back my interview, whether on NTA, on channels, or television, or AIT, I did say then, we want to change the policy, not the policy maker. I am not that the power to change the policy maker rests with the electorate. So when people claim that because of the hardship, which everybody knows, they capitalize on that, take advantage and play up on people's sensitivities, and they are making demand that you can reduce to wanting regime change. When you tell me you want to reclaim Nigeria, is Nigeria currently under foreign occupation? Is this president not in Nigeria? Is Southwest not part of Nigeria? You are reclaiming it from which foreign authority and for which Nigeria? I mean, you can see clearly what is behind that if you say you want to reclaim Nigeria. Who are you different from those who have been elected by the people of Nigeria? You want to put an end to this. If you have negotiable issues, negotiate them. But Nothing in the constitution allow you to even peacefully demand the regime change. You cannot peacefully do so. The constitution does not allow you to do that. And so my advice to those who are politically aggrieved, who are unable to overcome their defeat, is that they should wait for 2007 and use whatever advantage they think that will accrue and go for election. But to hide under the challenges that people are facing and to do the sort of thing that they want to do, let's not deceive ourselves. I don't sit on the fence. I have never, and I pray that my constitution will not deteriorate to a level that I will be afraid to see this as it is not possible for an amorphous group, not structured, no clear command structure, no basis for influence. They are not accountable to anyone, to say they are putting the whole country out of business for 10 whole days, peacefully. It's not possible to peacefully shut down the economy for 10 days.
ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún ṣe lálìkìyàmà.
Oshiomhole is an Oloriburuku person. But do you see the way he managed to, this is how they talk to Nigerians, okay? And some dumbos will sit down there and be like, Do you see how he managed to kind of twisted it? Yeah, the constitution allows you, oh yeah, we agree, things are hard in Nigeria. But there's something you must know. This protest is not sponsored by the hunger. It is sponsored by people who lost election. Practically